Testa with the Local Focus, and I'm here in Marion, Michigan on Baker's Green Acres, here to find out what's going on with Mark Baker and his farm. Hi, I'm here with Mark Baker of Baker's Green Acres, and I would like to ask you about your court case today. What exactly happened? How do you feel about it? Why were you in court?
Okay. Well, today was a hearing, and it's concerning the feral swine issue. What that's about is the state of Michigan, the Department of Natural Resources has said that our pigs are feral because of certain characteristics that they have. And we don't think that's so. So we sued them for relief of that order, that declaratory order. The state wants the court case dropped, and they want the judge to fine me $700,000. We would like the fines dropped. We don't have $700,000 to give them. And we'd also like the state to allow us to do business, because they put us out of business here for about 2 years. And it's hard to run a farm if you can't sell your animals. So.
The Baker's pigs are harmless domestic animals living on the Baker farm and nowhere else. They're not affecting anybody else. I want to look for a moment at the definition of domestic. And the plaintiffs have requested that the DNR define domestic hog production, but the DNR has refused to do that. So we've been left to dictionary definitions, and in my brief, I spent a considerable amount of time going through those and arrived at a proposed definition for this court to apply of domestic hog production. And I just want to talk about the definition of a domestic animal. This is from a dictionary, which is a reliable source given that the agency won't do it. And the definition is any of various animals, as the horse or sheep, domesticated so as to live and breed in a tame condition. Any of various animals. It doesn't say any animal except pigs. It says any animal.
But if you allow organizations, regulatory agencies like the DNR to step in and say, your business is no longer valid because your pigs have a straight tail or a curly tail, they're taking our ability to make a living.
I'm here with Liz and Ajna, and I would like to know why you guys are here at Mark's farm, Baker's Green Acres, today in Michigan. I think you may have traveled quite a way. I'm not sure. Where are you from?
I'm from Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay, and why did you choose to come here today?
I'm one of the co-founders of the Farm Food Freedom Coalition, and we go around the country in support of farmers like Mark who are facing regulatory or bureaucratic action, and they are in need of support from within their own community and from a larger national community, because we see this over and over. What happens in one location is a test case, and we see it happen in the other locations. And if we can kind of preempt that and get in between it and stop certain things, then we see a reversal of some of those policies.
Okay, so Ajna, why are you here?
Hi.
I'm wonderful. How are you?
It's really wonderful to have so many people out there, and people are paying attention to this. So, I'm actually from California. I'm an attorney, and I've been working with food cases for a few years now. I became acquainted with this movement a few years ago when Rawson was raided in Venice Beach, California, and I represented James Stewart and Sharon Palmer for different reasons at different times, and that case is still ongoing. So as we speak, they're currently in trial in part of the civil part of that trial. I assisted today with Michelle Hawley, who's representing Mark Baker, and today we did our motions for summary dispositions, and both parties filed motions. The state actually filed 2 motions, and Michelle and Mark's, we filed one as well as following up with oppositions and replies to the state. So a lot of work has gone into this and a lot of legal work. So part of why I'm here is to kind of communicate, also assist with the legal aspects, but communicate also to the public in a way where people can understand what's going on in a way, layman's terms, because sometimes the attorneys get busy, and so it's what I consider my job to also talk to people like you and share what's going on with Mark's struggle. Because
I'm here with my friend Eddie Free at, where are we?
We are at Baker's Green Acres.
And why are you here today, Eddie?
I'm here to support Mark Baker, who is a farmer out here, and he has a certain breed of pig that's called the Mangalista pig. It looks like actually it's a heritage breed of pig that's been here for a very long time. Even, I guess, from what I've heard, colonial times during the Revolution, the colonials or the colonists were raising these animals. So, what the backstory on it? The DNR has deemed them as an invasive species, and as far as the invasive species kill order, I agree with it. I think that that wild pigs they're a nuisance. They're very destructive to farmland, and but that's what a wild pig is. A wild pig is feral. So the DNR is calling for this kill order on feral pigs, and Mark Baker happens to have this certain type of breed, this heritage breed, which falls under what they're calling the characteristics of a feral animal. And the fact is that feral means that it's wild. I think the actual definition is a domesticated animal that goes into the wild, and that's what a feral animal is. Well, I'm sure you're getting footage out here. You can see that these pigs are not wild. You can go and smack on the fence, and they'll come right up to you to feed. They're not going anywhere. They have a very nice life here.
I'm here with my friend Scott, and I would just like to know why you chose to come here down to Mark's farm, Baker's Green Acres, today.
I'm here for two reasons. Mainly just to have fun, hang out with some really cool people, and to support the cause of human liberty. For sure, yeah.
Okay, so how is this related to human liberty? Like, how does his court case affect that, in your perspective?
So Mark wants to raise a specific type of pig, and then do business, carry out voluntary exchange with restaurants and people who want pigs, or people that want to eat the pork. And so we have people that call themselves the state that are trying to step into that and make it so that he can't do business the way that he wants, so that people can't freely and voluntarily purchase his products from him. So I'd like him to be able to make his own choices. So I want to come and provide support, and he's trying to stand up, trying to fight back against that process and be able to make those own choices for himself, and I'm all for that.
Okay, so I'm here with Pete Kennedy. Pete, why are you here at Mark's farm, and what organization are you with, or what's your motivation for being here today?
Mark is a member of the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund, which I'm president. We're helping financially with the case, paying his attorney to represent him. So I'm here to see a good result.
What, from your perspective, would be the ideal result?
That this invasive species order is unconstitutional, and people can raise whatever domestic pigs they want.
So really, liberation for farmers.
Right. I mean, this whole order is just a scam anyway. It's just trying to get market share for the big capo operations, and it also drive the small hunting preserve owners out of business too. So all the hunting money goes to DNR for license fees.
So you're from Kentucky. You traveled all this way to come and support Mark, so this must be a really important issue for you. What are you hoping the ultimate outcome of his case is?
Well, there's many good outcomes. Ultimate would be just like the absolute abolishment of state agencies like the DNR and others. That's a bit Pollyanna at this point in time, as long as the Federal Reserve printing presses are still kicking out dollars at the billions per hour rate. I would be very happy to see just the ISO struck down. And the Baker,
which is the invasive species
order. Yeah, the ISO, which is basically the DNR has the ability in Michigan, from what I read, they can basically pass things that have the force of law arbitrarily with no review from any of the branches of government, really, unless the governor will step in and do something about it, which isn't going to happen. So I'd love to see the ISO completely stricken down, or at the very least, for Mark's case in particular, just for a jury to throw out the ISO or its application to small farmers, and then we'll see what happens with the other facets of that regulation.
Is that the DNR is ignoring its own order. The language of the order says this subsection, and it's referring to the subsection where swine are listed, feral swine are listed as an invasive species. This subsection does not and is not intended to affect Sus domestica involved in domestic hog production. That's exactly what the bakers are running, a domestic hog production. Further, the National Invasive Species Council has said that it is essential to recognize that invasive species are not those under human control or domestication, and that invasive species are not those that humans depend upon for economic security. And the bakers certainly rely upon their pig farming for economic security. They go on to say that plant and animal species under domestication or cultivation and under human control are not invasive species. The same paper goes on to discuss how different animals of the same species can be feral and domestic. That particular paper looks at goats, and they discuss goats on a farm being domestic and therefore desirable, and goats that are loose in a national park eating the native vegetation being feral, and that the two are not the same, they're the same species, but they are not, should not, and cannot be regulated in the same way. The DNR, however, is taking the position here that all of these animals are somehow the same. They're not. They're the same species, but it is their living conditions that determine whether they are feral or domestic.
Where it landed, the judge listened to both sides, which we knew he would do that, and then he decided that he would make a written judgment. The DNR side, they wanted the whole thing dropped today, and they wanted me to stop by the bank and withdraw $700,000 and pay that to them. Our side simply said, we want to go to trial, and by the way, we'd like a jury. And the judge said, well, let me take it under advisement. So he'll be back to us in a short time and let us know where we're going. But it seems, anybody that was in there, it seems fairly certain that the judge believes that this needs to go to trial. I mean, for goodness sakes.
That's what we've heard so far.
The state didn't have very good arguments, I didn't think. They really didn't. So we'll see what happens. But all I can say is thank you all for coming. That made a big impact on the judge, I'm sure, because every one of you that came out represents 10,000 people.
Yes.
Every one of you represents them in his mind.
Cool.
And we vote. We vote.
Well, we think we do.
Yeah, we think we
But I
do.
appreciate it. My family appreciates it, and we'll continue to keep making a good fight. Yeah.
So pigs, what do you think about all of this? Are you waiting to bust out of here and just go hog wild in the forest and cause all kinds of damage to our environment? Or would you rather stay here and get turned into bacon and ham?